blah 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 blah. I can't speak. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, then hi, my name is Bhumi. I make videos about my life, which right now consists a lot about medical school since I am a medical student. In today's video, I will be sharing with you my thoughts about fat shaming in the medical industry. Before I start my video, I just wanted to explain what fat shaming is if you don't know what it is. It's basically when you humiliate or criticize someone based on their size, I mean specifically if they're fat, and just judge them and humiliate them and all the bad things that there are, like literally shaming someone for being fat. So the idea for this video actually came about because of an assignment that I did in December. So for the assignment, we had to give a presentation on a topic that we were interested in related to medicine and reflect on how it would impact us in the future as medical professionals. So I talked about fat shaming and how I had a personal experience with fat shaming that led me to kind of like realize the detrimental effects of fat shaming our patients and why I am going to avoid fat shaming my patients in the future when I am a doctor in like 700 years. Just kidding. So I am basing it off of that presentation, but that presentation was very specific. It needed to be a very like reflection. So I won't be sharing like every single detail that I did mention in the presentation to make it like fit the criteria that I needed to fit, but I will be sharing the main points, which is the parts about fat shaming and why I think it's important as not just as future medical professionals, because you might not be one, but just as people in the society, we should avoid fat shaming. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is why this topic means so much to me. So since a very young age, I have been discriminated for my size and been told things like, oh, you're so fat in a negative way, which I just don't think fat is a really negative word. I think fat has been given a negative connotation, but it really is just a description. So specifically the experience that I chose to reflect on in my presentation was a particular experience when I was like 10 or 11 years old, where I went to the doctor and before they even chose to investigate or look at like any blood reports or anything that might tell them what was wrong with me, they immediately said that I needed to lose weight and that everything would be fine once I lost weight, which is the root of the problem in the medical industry, but also just in general. Everyone just assumes that fat people are lazy and that fat people, if they lost weight, all their problems would be resolved, but that is not always the case, and it's really annoying when people just assume things about someone based on the way they look. So going back to that personal experience, I had to wait a lot longer to get diagnosed with hypothyroidism than I should have been, because basically the doctor was just convinced that I needed to lose weight and I'd be fine. And it took me months and months before I actually ended up getting blood tests and things to prove that I had a condition. And just for a little bit of context, hypothyroidism is a condition where my thyroid gland is underactive. If you don't know what your thyroid gland is, it's basically kind of like the master regulator of your metabolism. And basically that was actually causing me to gain weight, and it's hereditary and my mother has it. So no shock that I have it as well. Yeah, it was just annoying because like this doctor was just convinced that I needed to lose weight and that I would be fine if I lost weight, but actually the problem was that my thyroid gland was underactive and it was causing me to gain weight because my metabolism was screwed up. So through that experience and many other experiences like that, like it just affected me so much because I would be really scared to go to the doctor. Mainly because I just thought that everything was going to be blamed on my weight and everything. Like even if I was just sick, like let's say I just had a cold, I'd be like, oh, I don't want to go to the doctor, because I just had this like such a negative experience with doctors that I was like, oh, they're just going to tell me to lose weight, so why should I even bother? And then also grew up with a really unhealthy relationship with food and exercise, because like one of the first doctors that told me that I needed to lose weight used the words just eat less and exercise more, which, if you didn't already realize, literally is what an eating disorder is. So great doctor there. Yeah, so this doctor basically told me that, and then I ended up actually doing that because I thought that would work. I was like, oh yeah, I believe the doctor, right? He said to eat less and exercise more, that should work. And I did that and basically ended up with a very more messed up metabolism, because I mean, your body needs fuel, guys, like you need to eat. And there was a few months when I was like maybe 11 or 12, yeah, around that time, where I would just skip meals. I would try and exercise a lot, but I mean, I wasn't eating and I was trying to exercise, and my energy levels were just getting worse and worse, and it was really not that good. I mean, like, yeah, it's just a mess. And then I grew up, it made me really like hate my body. It made me really hate food. I had such a messed up relationship with food and exercise that I had to take years and years to unlearn, and now I'm in a much better place, thankfully, but it took me years to get to where I am now. And yeah, I just feel like fat shaming is such a problem. And basically, so part of my presentation, I had to like back it up with some evidence. So I did some research and I found out that like there was a study done in Canada that says that basically fat shaming leads to more harm than good. And basically the idea behind this is that people generally, not just doctors, anyone really, a lot of people equate fatness with being unhealthy, but that's not always the case. Now, if you look at me, generally someone who's just met me for the first time, if they don't know anything about me, will immediately assume something about my lifestyle without even like asking me what I do or anything really. And I think it's just annoying because I know a lot of thinner people who don't exercise, who eat like really unhealthy things like fast food all the time, for example, but they're never told that they're unhealthy, or they're never told that they need to lose weight or whatever, which is not the point here. The point is that you don't tell them they need to lose weight or that they're unhealthy, so why tell someone like me? Because I actually exercise almost every day. I eat quite healthily. I eat like home cooked meals that include like all food groups, and it's very balanced. I mean, like, I have a generally healthy lifestyle, but when someone looks at me and looks at my weight or something, they'll just immediately assume something about me, and that is what causes more harm, because this makes, like, generally the study showed that this makes fat people like avoid doctors and fear doctors, and then they're going to worsen their health conditions, because let's say they have something going on, like they have something that they should go see the doctor for, but because they're scared of the doctor and they think that the doctor's only going to tell them to lose weight, they end up avoiding the doctor until the situation gets really out of hand and really bad, and probably like irreversible at that point, and then there's nothing that the doctors can do anymore. So this is why fat shaming is worsening the health of fat people. And I mean, other than that, it also increases the risk of anxiety, depression, eating disorders, and other mental health conditions, because when it's basically like bullying, like you're ruining their body image, so they're just gonna really suffer from it. So yeah, after that in my presentation, I kind of linked it to the communication seminars that we had in the very first month of medical school, where we learned how to communicate with our patients and how to like gather information from them based on their history and things. And I just talked about how the doctor that I went to didn't even ask me anything about my life and immediately assumed something without gathering information and taking my history. Which, yes, okay, back then when I was diagnosed, maybe I wasn't the healthiest person in the world, but neither am I now. I would say I'm healthier now, like I'm more active and things, but I just feel like doctors need to do their job. Like, your job is to help your patient, your job is to protect your patient, your job is to like do no harm. And if telling your patient something like eat less and exercise more is going to cause harm, which it did to me, then is that really the best choice of words to go for? So I'm all for, like, yes, exercise is great, but first of all, not everyone can access exercise, because some people just might live with other people and they don't have space for it, or they don't have like enough money to go to a gym or enough money to buy equipment. So encouraging exercise is great, but make sure you know your patient as well. Like, make sure you're like suggesting the right type of exercise, because like I said, some patients might not be able to access it. And then yeah, just I think like the point is, don't judge someone based on what they look like, because people just don't generally tell thinner people that they're unhealthy, but they suddenly, when it comes to like a fat person, they're like, oh, but I'm just concerned about their health. Like, no, you're not. Yeah, I feel very strongly about this because I have experienced it firsthand, but I've also seen people around me experience it and not be able to stand up for themselves. And now I know better, and now I can stand up for myself when someone tells me like, oh, but you shouldn't really be eating that. And I'm like, well, you don't have to say what I eat. But like, yeah, just don't comment on other people's lives. Like, you don't know what they're going through. You don't know their life. You don't know what they do. You don't know what they're doing. Just please focus on yourself. And if you still feel the need to comment on other people's weight, then maybe try and see where your issues around fatness and fat phobia are arising from, because the media does a great job at promoting fat phobia, and maybe you're just one of those people that have been influenced by the media, and there's so much for you to unlearn. Okay, yeah, I could go on and on and on and on, because this is a topic that's very close to my heart and I care a lot about, but I'm going to keep it nice and short. And to summarize, from all this experience, the reflection that I made at the end of my presentation was that I know better now, and as a future medical professional, I will always refrain from assuming things about my patient's lifestyle without having asked them, and also always fairly investigate all my patients regardless of their size or regardless of what I believe, because the only way to know for something for sure is through tests and investigations. So that means like blood tests or x-rays or whatever. So yeah, let me know if you have any comments, if you want to share anything, if you want to know more, or you want to share something that you experienced. Yeah, let me know what you think. That is all I have to say for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. If you did watch till the end, give it a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already for more videos. And yeah, I'm gonna go and study now because I have exams soon. And that's all for today. See you in my next video. Bye.